Chris Kiriakou, how do estate agents beat agents who overvalue and do cheap fees? Talk to me.
Great question, very good question, and it's one that really a lot of agents just don't know how to deal with, right? So, and that's why we have this race to the bottom in terms of fee. You know, so many times students, when we have our weekly meetings on Zoom, are talking about fees and stuff, and my answer always is this: don't blame the fee for not being instructed, yeah, and don't race to the bottom to get instructed. Okay, if you've left it down to the fee for the person, this is what I believe. If you've left it down to the fee for the person to instruct you, you haven't done enough. You've left it too late. For me and my clients and my students, what we're trying to do is say, by the time you get to the appointment, you're already instructed. You're going to sign the contract. That's it. It's yours to lose because you've given value in advance. And that's why this cheap fee scenario exists, because people haven't invested in that relationship. They haven't invested in building that trust and that authority in their market space. So they feel like they have to give a cheap fee to get the instruction.
How do they invest in that though?
Well, like we've spoken about in the past, invest in doing some Facebook ads, invest in building your audience online so that people get to know, like, and trust you in advance. Put together an email nurture sequence that you send to people that gives value and helps them to understand that you really do know what you're talking about. Okay, but all this is done way in advance, way in advance of that person's picking up the phone and ringing the 3 random agents that they've done traditionally. With clients that I've worked with now, they're often the only agent in, because they've been building this relationship from from way back, before the person even knew they wanted to sell a house. They're on Facebook, they see an ad, they see a post, they see something get shared. So,
okay, so that's how you beat cheap fees. What about overvaluing?
Overvalue is a tough one. If people overvalue is tough. I would suggest that you just go with your evidence. Okay, you've got your comps. You speak to the person. If they're dead set on the higher price because someone else has spoken to it, you do your duty and show them that why that price might not be the right price. But I wouldn't walk away from that. I would be in a position of, okay, look, I've demonstrated to you what I think the right price should be. Within reason, I'd like to work with you, okay? But as long as we've got a plan of action in place, okay? I'm happy to try out your price, obviously if it's not ridiculous, because otherwise you're just going to end up doing more damage to your own brand, okay? But if it's within reason, if it's not a major leap, then put a plan in place that helps you to bring that price down.
Even put it in the sole agency agreement, if we're not sold in 3 weeks, the price will come down.
This is what what often is missing from these plans is the vendor doesn't often have an idea of exactly what you're going to do in those first. They just think you all do the same thing. You put it on Rightmove and hope for the best, right?
That's what most agents do, then.
Right. That is what most agents do, and that's what most cheap fee agents do. Okay, so where you can beat that cheap fee agent is to show them your structured marketing plan, set expectations from the start. In the first week, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to hit that milestone, and this is what we expect. Okay, in the second week, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and this is what we expect. If we haven't hit your price or had offers around your price by this time, it will start to go stale on the market. I would suggest at that point that we re-look at the price. Okay, and Mr. Vendor, if I do have to come to you for a price reduction, it's not going to be by a couple of grand. We're going to need to take X% off to make it more interesting to people, to new buyers. What we don't want to do is show the same people the same property at a reduced price. We want to show the different people a new property at a new price.
Why do you think when an estate agent loses a listing, quite often to overvaluing, that the vendor never goes back to the agent that lost it and always goes to another agent?
That probably is down to follow up. Another thing I keep mentioning to my clients, but another thing we talk about is like that person is still your client, even if you've lost the instruction. You need to treat that person as though they're still your client. Okay.
Because agents don't, do they?
No, they don't. They've lost it. And then you'll follow up maybe, oh, how you doing? How you getting on?
Yeah,
Have you sold it yet?
Yeah, you bastards, because you didn't
Yeah,
instruct me.
no.
Because I'm so hurt here.
I would continue to treat them as my client. Hey, just touching base. How's the viewings going? Oh, we've had this feedback. Oh, well, have you tried maybe doing this, doing that?
Okay.
Yeah. And
because agents do take it personally when they lose a
they
listing.
do, and you do, and you like to blame everything else but yourself as to why you didn't get it, and that's why you always hear the excuse, "Oh, it was the fee, or they overvalued." Well, let's be honest, it probably isn't. It probably, you didn't give them enough of a reason to choose you. Okay, you left it down to fee and price. It's your fault. You left the decision as to whether they should instruct you or not down to fee and price. It's as simple as that. Okay, so when you say, "Oh, I lost it because the other agent valued higher," no, you didn't. You lost it because you didn't give them a compelling enough reason to choose you other than the valuation.
So how do they do that?
It goes back to building these relationships in advance. Okay, and if you haven't had the time to do that, then you've got to find a way to insert as many touch points as possible between them booking the appointment and actually going to the appointment. That's why I'll never let clients go on the same day, or for a lot of the time the next day. Okay, it's not like I wake up today and go, "Hey, I'm going to value my house, and whoever doesn't come today can't have it." Right?
Yeah, but I might lose it to the first.
Well,
person.
then so be it. Then so be it. Yeah, because I need that time. You've got to give yourself that time. It's like a boxer isn't going to go into a fight without training. Yeah? No matter how well versed they are, they need a few weeks of training at least. It's hardly ever you hear a boxer taking up a fight on like 2 weeks' notice, right? It happens, and most of the time they lose. Okay? They lose. It's the same here. If you go unprepped on the day of them asking you, you're not going to get it. You haven't had enough time to hand deliver your pack, add some value, give them a courtesy call in the morning of the valuation to say you're coming round. Just do stuff that makes you look good. Send them a video. Like I got my valuers sending videos saying, "Hey, just noticed Gemma booked in this valuation for me. Really looking forward to seeing your property on Wednesday at blah, blah, blah o'clock. If you need me before then, or if you've got any questions, feel free to pick up the phone. This is my number." Who does that?
No one.
Right, exactly. Which is why when we speak about clients, like you've mentioned Rob in the past, why he has a 70-80% market share and an average fee of 1.75 to 2%.
Quite easy things to do, just hard to implement.
It is hard to implement, and we're saying it like it's really easy. Sometimes it takes a shift of mind, and like I know it's not as easy I'm saying it is, but I can tell you categorically that when you lose a listing to fee or overvalue, you haven't lost it to fee or overvaluing. You've lost it because you were one of the random agents that was called in, and you only let the vendor be able to choose you on fee or valuation.
Thank you for your time today, Chris.
All right, no problem.